because we already have 11 people here.
Yes, yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So it's 12th of Feb, and you are right now live tuned on Love's Cloud. We are here at our Noida office in India, and I'm really happy to host you guys on a very small, like I think for 1 hour long conversation, fireside chat with our very own man of the house, Love's Cloud founder, Mr. Albert Anthony. And to introduce him, if any of you might not be knowing much about him, so he's actually 15, more than 15 years of experience in cloud, Ansible, DevOps, and many more technologies, having more than 8 years experience in consulting and training. He has been with a lot of companies and bear with them in moving towards cloud. So he has been through that journey with all the organizations. So I think he is the best man here to tell us more about cloud management and helping you all with some facts and tips for moving towards cloud and starting your cloud management journey. And to add more, things to his shoulder, he has also authored two of the best books about AWS security, which you can easily find on Amazon. And I believe I'll be getting a free copy as well after this webinar. So I'm really glad to host this, and I think you should add something to what we should be expecting out of this conversation today.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think I'm really delighted to be here talking about cloud. Uh, I noticed that you have put cloud evangelist, on your profile, and back in 2016 when I started learning AWS, I think that is what I used to call myself, cloud evangelist. Uh, and like right now, everybody talks about cloud, whether it is a public cloud or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud. So we came long from going to cloud first, and now because many people, many workloads are moving to cloud, uh, we have a problem.
Yes.
Right? And how to manage cloud.
Exactly.
And this session, we have had so many discussions with our customers, where including ourselves, where they are on one cloud or they are on more cloud, and they talk about how do I manage this, right? And we thought it would be a good idea to talk about it with our audience. So we have presence on LinkedIn, we have presence on Twitter. You did a survey, right?
Right.
And people were wanting to know about cloud management. Exactly. So we thought that let us talk about cloud management. Let us take questions, with people who are running their workloads on cloud, and that is how it happened.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll take a break from the cloud management thing, and I'll just introduce Yogyata. So Yogyata is a bright young girl, and very renowned person in women in product community. She loves product management. So so and she has her own ways of doing things, her own way of working for product. We learn a lot through her. Like she did mention that I've got many years of experience, and we try to unlearn a lot of things with her help, right? So who better than to talk about cloud management other than Yogita in our organization? So there she is.
I'm pretty much psyched today for this, conversation. I'm very nervous. Literally telling, I'm very nervous. So being a product manager of Love's Cloud, it's like a lot of pressure because I'm not a cloud person at all. It's just one cloud evangelist label that I have recently started using on LinkedIn because I'm studying a lot because I'm working on products which are related to cloud and working on cloud, which will definitely delight you within the end of the conversation. But yes, when I started that, so I started to have this conversation with a lot of people, a lot of companies online, and we surveyed a lot of people. And then, we came along with a lot of things that people are going through, the traits, the scenarios that people are going through, and which were pretty common. So then I discussed with Albert that we should do this session, and I think it is going to help a lot of people. If like we can take 1 hour out of your busy schedule and do this conversation, then it might help a lot of people out there who are looking for a direction in their cloud management journey. So, when we talk about cloud and then when we move towards cloud management, I think it is pretty much different and there's a gap in between. We cannot say both of these things are actually similar for startups, businesses, and enterprises. So, just to decipher cloud management, I would really love if you can, add more information about what exactly cloud management is and how it is different from cloud monitoring.
Right. So I think you have put it in a nice way that cloud is different from cloud management. Now, cloud people go to resolve some problems related to cost. They are spending too much money. Or the portability, right? Yeah, they can sitting in Delhi, they can have a DR in Mumbai, or for that matter in Sydney as well, or for that matter in Chicago as well. Yeah, ease of use, right? I mean, these are some of the things that you say that people are moving towards cloud now. Once they move their workloads in terms of their data, their servers, now there is a problem to manage that, right? Now, most of us, and like I have grown up into that data center world, so we are used to managing a data center, right? So there will be folks, system administrators, security folks, who will be in the data center. So a very interesting stuff. Like I've been working for very long time. Do you know how many times I went inside of a data center?
Actually, I have never been inside of a data center.
Yeah, so I have run like project manager management, a lot of products, right? So how many times do you think I would have been inside of a data center?
I guess 5 or 6
Five
times.
times? Zero.
Never.
Never. And the reason for that is I, a project manager or a program manager, never had a business to go inside of a data center. Why? Because only the folks who are entitled, they are allowed inside of a data center. That is really not true for cloud. Do you have access to cloud account?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So I also have access to many cloud accounts because you see, because it is virtual, it is kind of very easy to get inside of a cloud account. I am pretty sure most of the folks here, if they are not from sysadmin or IT administrator, they would never had a chance to go inside of a data center. And that is the, kind of a paradigm shift. So that is the reason we need to manage cloud in a different way. And that's what we are going to talk today.
Yes.
That running your workloads, moving your servers, that is one area, and that is where we have been doing all the work. The DevOps folks, or even the technical folks, or the programmers, they would do that. But cloud management, it's a different thing, and there is some sort of ambiguity on who is going to do that, who is going to manage what piece.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that is what we should be.
Yes.
Will be talking today.
Yes. So guesswork, I think it's one of the parts that we should definitely discuss today. Before we start about digging more into cloud management, I was just about the other day I was just googling about the cloud management, and there's when you start thinking or talking about maybe there's an application, there can be a cloud management platform to help you manage your cloud, to help you manage your workloads. So I was just wondering if a cloud management platform is more helpful, or if an in-house resource who's like having certifications or is actually a cloud architect. So is that person is more helpful in managing your cloud, or if we should depend on a SaaS application or maybe a CMP for managing the cloud? So what do you think?
Yeah, a very interesting question that you brought about the certification. Interestingly, like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, they all have a very mature certification path, right? Now, interestingly, there is no certification for cloud management.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a certification for DevOps engineer, or maybe a developer, or maybe a solution architect, right? But there is no such certification or a path for cloud management. And that is where I did mention that there is some sort of ambiguity on who is going to manage what, right? And that is where the CMP, a cloud management platform, is kind of coming over.
Okay.
So you take a tool, and to put it kind of in another way, last week we attended one AWS partner event, and they told us now there are 175 services in AWS. Now it is very difficult for an organization, leave alone a person, to know about this 175 services, leave alone like managing them. So that is where the CMP or cloud management platform plays a very crucial. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So, we can get along with this conversation. So, I'm going to rock on with those questions that we have received so far with the survey that we did on LinkedIn and Twitter away period back. So, I'm going to start asking those questions. Meanwhile, if you guys come up with any questions, you can directly ping on this chat and we'll try to cover them up gradually with this conversation. Okay, so we have already talked about, we have started this conversation with, CMP, right, and a person who's in house. So, when it comes about cloud management, and when hear about examples of Flipkart's one day sale or Amazon one day sales, so there are many resources involved and definitely cloud involved. So when we talk about cloud management, then what sort of people are the one who are actually the decision makers, or the people who are going to judge the metrics, the measuring of the workloads, and what is being performed well or bad. I'm just trying to give examples, right, out there. So what do you think cloud management will impact the sort of roles? What roles are going to be there in any sort of organization? So if I were to start at the very bottom of the pyramid, there will be folks who are working on cloud. Now these could be their DevOps engineer or developer. We call them like cloud native developers. Now they are the first layer. They are interacting with the cloud resources pretty much on a daily basis, right? And they would need to manage their systems on cloud. So whatever they are working, so their applications, right? They are the first layer. If we go a little bit above, there could either be a product manager, right? Now, product manager is mostly responsible for the applications being developed, and they obviously have a budget. They already they have some security issue, or maybe there is a feature that they want to develop in their product, and most of the cloud management cloud platforms, they are already offering that as a service. Okay. Yeah. So we talk about this Kubernetes, right? All the major cloud platforms, they offer Kubernetes as a managed service. So a product manager can say that, hey, I want this feature to be used by this cloud platform, okay, right? Do not reinvent the wheel. So that is where these guys would fit in for cloud management. Then if you go a little bit above, there will be a project manager. A project manager would be responsible for budget, for security, for access, even the resource utilization for his or her particular project, right? So they would be consuming this cloud management, tools very, very religiously, right? And then of course we have an executive layer. So executives, so we have CEO, we have a CFO who is obviously worried about the budget part, right? Because cloud is kind of infamous for unpredictable cost, right? And that is where cost optimization is such a big part of cloud management. And then of course there is a CISO, so security folks. They want to know that, hey, is my cloud secure? Is my application secure? Is there any intrusion that is happening? And this is all is done by various tools, and cloud management essentially brings all these things into one platform. Okay. So to kind of go back to what we said, at a very low level or the first level, we have folks who are directly working with cloud on a daily basis. So these would be your DevOps folks, your developers, your testers, your IT administrator. Then we will be having your product managers. Then there will be project managers who will either working with one product or multiple products. And then there are CXOs, right, who are responsible pretty much for everything. Right. Yeah. So 4 levels or 4 roles is what I see. There could be differentiator for these 4 roles. Yeah. So you added pretty much all of the people who are there in a product. Right. So I think cloud management is going to be a very important part of any sort of product. You also highlighted about
cost. So when we talk about cost, everywhere we read that cloud is very much famous for being so much resourceful and highly available. So, but yes, it put holes in your pockets in the month end, right? So, what are the main factors that actually contribute to the cloud cost, or maybe we can, even if we are not using a CMP, but can there be any sort of standards related to cost management and as a part of overall cloud management, which will help, gradually help to reduce our cost?
Yeah, so in my last organization, there was this CTO, and he said, like, I personally think that's one of the best lines about cloud. He says the best thing about cloud is it will give you as much compute you want, right? So you want a 2 terabyte server, you can provision it just like that.
Right.
Then he said the worst thing about cloud is it will give you how much compute you want.
Okay.
It will never tell you, hey, this 2 terabyte, you know what? It's going to burn a hole in your pocket.
Right.
So, I mean, they will tell you that yes, it perhaps cost $3,000 a month, that server,
Right.
but I mean that's about it. I mean, if I am working in a traditional data center, I perhaps have to take like 4 approvals, right? And people will question me, hey, why do you even need that 2 terabyte of a server, right? I mean, and I think I kind of agree with what he said, because that is where you need more kind of guardrails.
Right.
So yes, perhaps I need a 2 terabyte server, but then I maybe need it only for 2 hours or maybe for 8 hours. I don't need to run it 24 hours, for 30 days.
Right.
So that kind of guardrails, yes, and that is where I think a cloud management or a cloud management platform would play a very, very critical role.
Right.
Because if I am a developer, I am least bothered about how many hours my server is running.
Exactly.
Or, I am storing data on a storage that is costing me $300 a terabyte per month. Or should I store, 1 terabyte or 10 terabyte of data on a service that is costing me $30?
Right.
So you see, there's a 10 times of difference. And if we have 500 terabyte of data, imagine the money I will be saving or spending every month.
Exactly.
Multiplied by 12. And I mean, that is a big surprise for a CFO, right? So I think those are the things that we need to be very, very careful when we have a cost associated with our cloud resources. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we have a question here. Do any unified tool available for managing our subscriptions? I believe they are talking about cloud subscriptions. For example, we have multiple subscriptions, EA and CSP and Azure. We are always facing issues in managing billing of workloads.
Right. Yeah, I think CMP or cloud management platform, they strive to solve this problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so like in our in-house, we are using like 5 AWS accounts, 2 Azure account, and 1 Google Cloud account.
Okay.
Now, as a founder of this company, it is very difficult for me to keep track of all the resources everywhere. And I think same is happening with this gentleman who is asking this question. So yes, a cloud management platform strives to do that. We'll talk a little bit more about what those platforms are, but this is exactly the problem that they strive to solve.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so how can we architect a cloud solution right from the scratch, which fulfills compliances like PCI DSS, HIPAA, and FISMA?
Yeah, so I mean, PCI DSS or HIPAA or FedRAMP or even this, there are actually some very, very good CMPs that focuses only on compliances.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can, I think we will be talking about CMPs in detail as well. That is where I will share some of the names, who focus especially on compliances.
Right.
So and as a matter of fact, if this person is talking about AWS also has a program for architecture review, right? And just so you know, they actually give you credit for that, so you don't have to pay for that.
Okay.
So you can reach out to your cloud partner, and cloud they have a compliance team. They will come, they will review your architecture, and you have to tell them that, hey, I want a PCI DSS compliant architecture or a HIPAA compliant architecture, and they will actually do it for you. They'll do the architecture.
Okay.
It's for free, by the way.
Okay, so we have a question about what basically is DevOps. So, not exactly taking our agenda towards DevOps, but yes, I would like some information about if DevOps can be linked within cloud management, or if it actually covers the scope of DevOps also.
So, in my personal opinion, DevOps and cloud computing, these are the two best things to happen to IT. Yes. Maybe since .NET. Couple made in heaven. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, and they are like, it's a huge paradigm shift with cloud and with DevOps. You could automate, you could accelerate your journey, you could reduce cost. At the end of the day, it's all about cost. That's what I always say. You could do way too many things to bring down issues within a development team or within an organization with the help of DevOps. So cloud computing, yes, like you said, match made in heaven. They go really, really well. And cloud is essentially designed to be, automated, right? Designed to be decoupled. And DevOps, essentially, kind of an extension of Agile, right? Where you say that, hey, decouple things, use similar tools, right? And I think they work really, really well. Right. Yeah. So DevOps work really, really well with cloud. Yeah, we won't go much into DevOps. Perhaps
we'll definitely have this in a separate
exactly,
agenda,
because
I believe, because DevOps is itself like
something that I love, and then we do a lot of training sessions for DevOps, and it's amazing what people can achieve. DevOps coupled with cloud computing. Right. Yeah.
Right. So the other day I was checking out that research which is done recently by Gartner for cloud management.
Yeah.
So what exactly is so important about cloud management that even Gartner is trying?
Yeah, and I was amazed to see that report, right? So I mean, essentially, that is where Gartner is acknowledging a cloud management platform as a separate category. Right. So I remember that 10 years ago when they started tracking cloud management, cloud computing, right? I mean, AWS was there, Azure was there, and now, AWS obviously boasts that, hey, for 10 years we are leader in, infrastructure as a service. And that actually shows that because so many people are now on cloud, there is a need, there is a shortage of cloud management, right? And that is where this cloud management platform are coming, and Gartner started tracking it. So last year, I think February 2019, they got their first Magic Quadrant out, and this year, I think in Feb, they are going to come up with the next one.
Okay.
So that again, I think reinforces what we are saying, that cloud management is a requirement, it's a necessity. So this is something that much more than an individual or an organization can cater to. So they need to have a platform or a specialty to manage cloud. Right. Yeah, that is essentially where I believe world is moving.
Exactly. I'm pretty much sure that there's much more to add when it comes to cloud management, because it specifically revolves around your business in
Exactly.
your cost, how much you are spending, how you are trying to have that cloud strategy within your organization. I think there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, and interestingly, like cloud computing in itself, it's kind of like a universe. So it is constantly expanding.
Right.
I mean, in the beginning there was one service, and I mean now, like between AWS, Azure, and Google, there are more than like what 350 services, right? And then there are talks about hybrid cloud or the private cloud as well. I mean, we definitely need something that can bind this together. Like there was a question: how do you keep track of billing of all these things? So you need one dashboard. Like I really don't see that people would be going, or developers would be going, logging to different cloud environments. That, hey, I need to do this thing from here or do this thing from here. There will be one dashboard, and that one dashboard would kind of plug into different environments. It could be one cloud, it could be multiple clouds. And ideally we should be able to do everything from this one particular platform. Yeah.
Right. Which is actually what we are trying to achieve.
Exactly.
In the coming months. We will definitely be doing that.
Yeah.
Right. So, is cloud management different for different cloud providers, or is it like a template that fits all?
So, I mean, let's take a step back and then define what exactly is cloud management. So, when we say, hey, I want a cloud management tool, or I want to do cloud management, what do I want to manage? So, I could think of like, 4 or 5 things. So, security definitely is,
Yes,
is like, like what you said, right? So, it's right at this stack, top of the stack, that I want to manage security. Who is getting data? Who is retrieving data? How many people are accessing whatnot, and so on and so forth. So security I want to manage. I definitely want to manage cost, right? At the for most organization, they realize the benefit of cloud, and that benefit had to do with cost. Cost and security. Okay. Resource utilization. I definitely want to manage resource utilization. I was reading a report the other day where they said that more than $1 billion was spent because servers were running idle on cloud.
Oh,
in a year.
I think that is pretty much common because I heard the same thing from our clients.
It happens with us as well. I mean, imagine we are a DevOps and a cloud consulting organization. Still, we had this challenge, right? Because I did mention there are like some 8 cloud accounts that could be hundreds of resources lying idle. How do you track them? I mean, cloud does give you a report, but then how many times I would go and look at a report? Imagine if I have like 8 accounts, right? So security is there, cost is there, then there is resource utilization. Fourth one is governance. So governance is where I said about that guardrail. So yes, I do need a server, for 2 terabyte that could perhaps cost $3,000 a month, but I need only for 4 hours.
Okay.
Right? So how do I ensure that the server gets terminated automatically after 4 hours?
Right.
That's where the governance comes into picture, right? Or maybe I am like, there was a very good question about HIPAA compliance. So I want my resources to be PCI DSS compliant. How do I ensure that nobody starts a server or does anything that puts my compliance in, or that jeopardizes my compliance? Right. Yeah. So that is part of governance. I need not go and audit all my accounts on a daily basis, right? That's not something I would want. And lastly, I could see monitoring. So with cloud, with great power comes great responsibility. With cloud, there is obviously a need to monitor what is going in my account. Right. Because I did tell you, we have users, we have resources as in servers and storage and all those things. We also have applications. So you need to monitor 360-degree, right? Not just the users. Exactly. We need to monitor applications. We need to monitor the resources where applications are running, resources where data is stored. So we need to have monitoring as well. And I believe these 5 areas, they kind of comprise cloud management. Yeah. So if cloud management can take care of these 5 things, I think we are more or less in good shape.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I think there are a lot of questions here. Okay, so what is your view on cyber security, cloud security, and its future? Actually, it's actually a good question because we are trying to highlight particularly the security part of the cloud, which is we already said is the P0. So, of course, what do you think is very much important or can be a standard practice for cloud security, and how you feel the future of cloud security is going to be like?
Yeah. So I'm sure you know that this question is close to my heart, right? Because security.
2 books.
Yeah. So when I started writing or started researching about that book on security, I read too many white papers. Let's put it like this. On especially on AWS, every single white paper that I wrote had a statement: security is job zero at AWS. And I think it doesn't define better than this particular statement what security actually means for cloud, right? So now I also mentioned that cloud, or rather security in cloud, is a paradigm shift from what we were doing in data center, right? So I explained that in last 20 years I've never been inside of a data center. right? It was so easy for them to physically block my access because I had no business.
Right.
But for cloud, everybody has an access. All you need is a login ID and password, right?
Yes.
And you can tell anybody, and I can do way too many bad things, right? So cloud security is something that, and I think few months back I was reading this article where they said for every one security specialist, cloud security specialist, there are two jobs available, right? So that tells you about the state of affair of cloud security, right? Because everybody is going to cloud and people need to know how to secure their cloud. And there are very, very few people who are A, knowledgeable, and B, certified. All the cloud platforms, they have their, I told you about their certification program. Everybody has their very good mature certification program, and all of them has a certification for cloud security.
Okay.
Yeah, so that tells you that how serious they are about cloud security, right? And it's an amazing field to get in. Cloud security itself will become a domain, right? And then uh, see, one of the thing that cloud management would stay away, like there are some amazing tools for monitoring applications, correct? So take like New Relic or maybe Datadog, for log monitoring. Cloud management will not become another New Relic. Yeah, it will not become an application monitoring. It will more be focused on cloud monitoring and cloud security, cloud resource utilization. Yeah, so they will have their own niche, but not to eat away market from New Relic or Datadog or Splunk and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the next question we have is: would you recommend CloudFront over AKMI for CDN, considering we have the rest of the infrastructure in AWS?
Yeah, so this is a tricky question, and I think it is from Hari. Hari, I know Hari. So Akamai is, from what I know, it is way ahead of CloudFront. Okay, and obviously, there are times when the organization would not reveal that whether it was a CloudFront or whether it was an Akamai. But I think Akamai does a really, really good job of content distribution in terms of price and in terms of points of presence, over CloudFront.
Okay.
Yeah. If that answers your question.
That's a good one. Okay, so I have a few more questions. Okay, so is there anything particular that can be added for cost, storage, security? So, when we talk about all of this, I know the AWS, Azure, GCP, they all have actually their services for, managing some parts of it. So, when it is coming from the source itself, like they are the sources where these things are to be managed, the workloads and everything. So, why don't they come up with any sort of service which people would be using to manage cloud? I mean, is that we are depending on them, not fully, but just for the resource, and they're not taking the responsibility of the management? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so see, Google has already come up with a service where they are saying that hey, you can use this service to manage multi-cloud, right? And I think that's a small step towards something that is going to become a norm. I believe in next few quarters or maybe in a couple of years, we will see similar services or similar offerings from AWS as well, from Azure as well, because they will realize that hey, we have given too many services. Now let us give them something to manage it, right? Because I mean, with Gartner is starting a magic quadrant, and they have. I mean, if you look at it, there are some close to 20 contenders in there, which says that 20 people or 20 organizations they already found that hey, this is going to be a niche, and we should invest in that, right? And some of those organizations they got acquired by VMware. One got acquired by Azure, right? The cloud management organization. So yes, I think either they will build it in house or they are going to take another organization, right? So, but yeah, they will do that. I'm pretty sure they will do that.
So I think the way they are extending their services, I think cloud management application would actually help them extend their business also, because they can keep on increasing the services and then think of that there's no actually a panel or a platform where people can manage our sources services that we are providing. Of course, then it goes out of our humans potential itself to manage a lot of services and then a lot of accounts that are there. So when we talk about multi-account and human potential, I think cloud management might be different from business to business. So
Yes.
can you put some light on how it can be different from the different sort of businesses? There can be agencies who are building, then there can be sole product based companies, then there could be e-commerce. So how cloud management impact can be different in all of these sort of organizations?
So let us look at, like, at a very high level, two types of organization. One could be a product organization, the other could be a service organization, right? So we are working with an enterprise, 300,000 people, and more than 500 projects running, and they work on all sort of things, right? Now, and they use like all sort of cloud. They even have a public cloud, and they even have a private cloud, right? Now, in an organization like this, there will be an end-to-end integration of cloud and a cloud management platform with all the other tools that they are using. So, for example, let's say for project management, they are using Jira. Okay, or for ticketing, they might be using ServiceNow, right? Okay. So then this cloud management, it needs to talk to these two tools. Okay. Now for product, it is very different, right? So for product, they are focused only on a product development, and they might not be using too many tools for it, right? So a cloud management should simply focus on what is going on with that particular product in terms of the roles that we discussed earlier, right? And then of course they might be having some internal tools for tracking product, right? And it should integrate with that. It goes very different for a startup versus an enterprise. A startup, most of the time they would be focusing on budgets and for security, but an enterprise would be focusing more on governance part as well, because there's too much to lose, right? So much is at stake. So it gets extremely different from an enterprise. So cloud management cannot be another dashboard where a CXO would go, right? Let's say if CXO is going to a Jira dashboard to see what is going on, that person would love to have cloud management portal also integrated like that. That, hey, what is going on in my cloud? Yeah, that perhaps would not be true for a startup. Yeah, so that is how it kind of differs.
Okay, so how cloud management would be ranked, if it would be ranked as a smart skill or maybe a technical skill? What do you think is going to be the actual classification for the cloud management?
So I think that, so we do, and now you are a product manager, right? And you must have heard about that no code thing as well, where they assume right now, they are not predicting, they are assuming that product manager will be able to develop a product, especially the MVP part, right? So there are tools in the market where they are saying you do not need a front-end developer or a back-end developer or a cloud guy or a DevOps guy, whatever. You just need a product manager. Product manager should be technical enough. You drag and drop and do few things and you have an MVP, right? That is where cloud management is going to go. So product manager, so I'm taking your example, a product manager should be able to see what do I need to see in my cloud. Hey, am I doing this? Am I doing this? Am I doing this? Can I save $100 on this thing? So cloud management will tell you, hey, why don't you do this and it will save you $100. Or you know what? Cloud best practices says that you should not be doing this and you are doing this. Or if you are a project manager, you can see there are 50 unattached resources lying in your cloud. Now, a project manager would not go and look at those things. But if he has a dashboard, the dashboard will say, you have 50 items that are not being used and they are being charged. Or, they are open to the world. Now, this is a very good insight. Right. So this will become a skill set. So I love to take example of Finacle, right? Finacle. Now you can see people are saying that I know Finacle. You can see on LinkedIn, right? Because it has become a norm. Cloud management will become a norm. So it is an easier thing to say I can launch servers, I can do automations. Okay, fair enough. Can you manage cloud? Right. Yeah, and that is where you see it will become a very good skill set for product manager, for project manager, as well as DevOps folks. Yeah, so they'll say that, sir, I know I can use this tool, or I can do certain things to manage cloud. Right. It will become a skill set.
Right. And I think the conversations between the product team, the technical team, and
Yes.
the business team, in
Yes.
fact, the marketing team, would become more intelligent as they would be, talking about if there is like coming sale that they are planning, the footfall is going to increase, and they can, talk about the sort of workloads that they should run because they are expecting that much amount of people coming to their website or the product. Yep. So I think the conversations would actually have a direction then if people are clear up their mind and they are directed towards knowing at least the basics of cloud management or maybe start a journey about cloud.
Yeah, I mean, cloud, in my personal opinion, it doesn't have to be a black box. So we have a design person in our team, right? I mean, it shouldn't be a black box for her. Let's say if she is at a supervisor position, she should know that what is the state of affair of my cloud.
Right.
I mean, that shouldn't be that difficult that I have to tell or somebody has to tell her, hey, click on this. That is where you are going to see, numbers. And then you have to go 3 level down to see what is your number.
Right.
Right? I mean, it should be a plain and simple dashboard.
It should be less.
Yeah, less complicated. It should be, we are all used to seeing Google Analytics, for example. It says 200 people came to your website today. I mean, there is no, rocket science in that. I understand 200 people came. That's it.
Right.
So,
right. So then it turns more like a pilot cockpit, which we really should avoid. Then it's like drilling down to details, which I might, being a product manager, I might not require, but I would just want my product to work at the time of the business requirement, or if we are or doing anything which is related to the product. I think that's what is my focus. So okay. So we have another question. Can you please recommend any certification on cloud security?
So AWS has a security specialty certification.
Okay.
And I would strongly recommend that. Right, that's a good certification to get started with security. Essentially, it talks about two different things: IAM, identity and access management. That essentially you don't let somebody in, or what is the access you are given, right? The permissions and the users. It talks about that. And then of course there are some other services where we say about encryptions and how to create more policies. But that is one certification I would strongly recommend. Azure and GCP, they also have similar certificate. Apart from that, if they want to move further, there is CCSP.
Okay.
CCSP is more towards, it's an expert level, right?
Cisco certified.
Yeah, and I think it's a good step to start with AWS security specialty certification.
Okay. So what is your view on using PaaS over IaaS? Okay, so it's for platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. Please excuse me. Like hosting application workloads on web app. So PaaS over VM, which is IaaS.
Yes. So I mean, let's take a step back and see why we are using cloud, or why people are using cloud over data center, right? So imagine if we have a data center right here, so we are going to manage this thing, right? The whole idea is you should let people manage things that they are good at. For example, cloud vendors now have become really good in managing data center, so that is why we have kind of outsourced it to them, right? Same thing goes with VM versus a PaaS service. So VM is, we are responsible for that VM. Whatever happens to that VM, we have to look at it. So all the OS operating system, all the patching, and even if it goes down, we have to have some sort of alternate arrangement. For platform as a service, I personally would always go over there, because we don't worry about the base, the infrastructure layer. We only bring our code and then run it on a platform. I personally would always do that, and I would rather go one level up on a SaaS, right? So serverless, we have a meetup on serverless, right?
Yes.
So we are having a meetup on serverless on Saturday 22nd. We are going to live stream that as well. So serverless is one step ahead, where we don't even worry about the platform, right? And of course there are like pros and cons. Learning curve is a very huge kind of factor that has to be considered, because it's good to have so many things, but then excuse me, at the end of the day we can't change our people overnight, right? And people will take 3 months, 6 months of time to learn anything. Yeah. Yes. So I would prefer PaaS over IaaS for certain use cases. The more we can delegate to cloud, the better it is for us. Yes. Yeah. Right. So on that note, there is one more concept of shared responsibility in cloud, right? And when I was writing that book, I came across that concept where it says that if you have infrastructure as a service, the security responsibilities are divided sort of 50-50 between customer and cloud vendors. If you go to PaaS, it goes more in favor of cloud vendor and less in favor of you. If you go to SaaS, then you have the least security responsibility. So I think that makes lot of sense. Yeah, let me just grab some water. Okay, we are having a break. Sorry about that. All right. So small break. We are totally on fire today. I'm literally going to write a blog with all the conversation. I can say myself already cloud certified up. I can say a lot. So there is a for all the beginners on cloud, there is a cloud practitioner certification. Right. I think that's a good thing to start, and there is a free training available for that as well. So yeah. Okay, so we have another question. Cloud management is very critical in terms of maintaining a balance, optimizing money and resource. So I think there's no question marks. I think he might be adding to our conversation. Okay, so do cloud management tools support hybrid computing like Azure ARC, or they have webhooks, or for connecting on prem to get telemetry? Yeah, it's both. So there are tools that would connect cloud as well as on-prem. Okay, and they would put that in a single dashboard. And then there are tools exclusively available for on-prem cloud management as well. Okay. Right. So it's both. You and I believe that going forward, there will be time where pretty much all the cloud management platforms, they are going to connect all the clouds as well as your on-prem clouds. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have, I think, covered a lot of questions today. So, yeah. Okay. So it's my personal question. Being a product manager, usually when we have that, conversation with our technical teams about any sort of feature request or things like that. So anything which is related to cloud and is bit towards more on the infrastructure level, then people like us, or maybe the project manager, maybe the marketing person, they are usually taken out of the conversation. Saying that this doesn't require your presence. Yeah. In the discussion. So where people like us can add value, or maybe if there are any sort of things or maybe pathway or direction that we follow, and then we can add value to that sort of discussion. Yeah, you already told about cloud management, and if we start learning the basics of it, we have shared responsibility sort of thing, and then maybe we can have that intelligent conversation. But other than that, what sort of things that we should start maybe preparing, or the type of conversation that we can initiate to make it a better conversation, or maybe make ourselves as a presence, or maybe contribute within that initiative? Yeah, so I did mention that cloud shouldn't be a black box, right? So it all starts with the information available to all these people, and that is where the cloud management actually opens a lot of new doors. So you think about a product manager, right, who would never log into a cloud account. But if you give that project manager so much information about cloud, imagine how much value that person can bring to table. So it is all about bringing that information back to that stakeholder. Okay. Rather than asking that person, hey, we can't give you access to cloud, or you have to learn cloud. There is no need for that. I personally don't think that anybody need to learn cloud, right? I mean, more it should be on the management part. I mean, everybody would understand, and there is a very interesting thing. if we bring that information back to non-technical people, that hey, I have 50 resources that are unattached, they would be knowing that hey, this information can be seen by a person who understand that I am spending $200 on this per month. So let me not do that. You see, things start improving because we simply bring it in front of people.
Right.
Yeah. So I think if we start bringing information, things will increase.
Okay.
In terms of the level of contribution they can make with respect to cloud computing.
Right. Okay. But I think that sort of also actually related to the type of culture which is being followed within the organization, because I feel many of the organizations stick towards the KRAs of the people. Like if I am there to question and in an enterprise, that they would definitely tell me that you are not required to think about it. So being that sort of, so it's actually I think more dependent on the sort of culture also of the organization, because that will impact. So I think cloud, if it is being evangelized by whatever cloud providers are, AWS, GCP, Azure, even the private clouds also. But I think it depends on the type of organization which is moving towards adoption of that cloud provider, right?
So culture plays, I think, the biggest role in all the initiatives. I mean, leave cloud management, everything. I'll give you two examples. 3 years ago, we worked with an organization. They had a modest bill on AWS, right? But they had a weekly meeting set up where even their director would attend, how to reduce the cost, right? So that was the culture. So every week they are going to evaluate, audit the bill, and see opportunities to reduce the bill. Okay. Then there was another organization. 2 years back, we worked on with one customer where they had various or multiple servers which would cost $1,000 a month running idle, and they obviously did not worry too much about it, right? It's just the culture part. And then we, of course, we worked with them, we saved them about a hell lot of money, let's put it like this, on their monthly AWS bills.
Okay.
But that's the culture, right? So if culture of an organization demands that you should contribute, I think they will find a way, right? And they will show you the information, right? Because I firmly believe that in an organization, pretty much everybody works toward the success of an organization, irrespective of their KRA or irrespective of their role. So if they see an opportunity to improve something, could be a security or a cost or a resource utilization or governance, I think they would chip in. And I think we should empower them by giving them more information, in a easily understandable way. Not some jargons that EC2 or EBS. I mean, this is Greek to many people.
Right.
Yeah.
It was good to me. Okay. So we have another question. Do cloud management tools support hybrid computing like Azure Arc, or they have webhooks for connecting on-prem to get telemetry?
Yeah, so they have webhooks as well, and they also connect with on-prem.
Okay.
So they do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we recently had a customer who was using Azure Stack, and then we worked on their cloud management as well.
Okay. Okay. So how these cloud management tools support compliance requirement? If customer wants to onboard them in solution, requirement like support, availability, customization, security, etc.
So what I would see that these tools obviously would be offered as SaaS, and they would evolve. So whatever is mentioned here in terms of security, in terms of optimization, they would eventually bring all those things on board, depending on the customer. I mean, you know about our product, right?
Yes.
So we get a lot of requirements that hey, I am using this particular service. Can you add this into your product? And we say yes, we can do that, right? So as and when this market will mature, will have more use cases, I'm pretty sure these tools are going to mature as well.
Okay. Okay. How do we ensure our data is protected and secured from cloud service provider itself?
Very interesting question, though. So there is a contract where cloud providers, they actually say that they cannot access your data. Right? You obviously can encrypt that. Like we have a couple of customers in India as well as outside of India. where we kind of ensure that all that data is encrypted, and the key that we are using to encrypt, the master key, that master key is not stored on the cloud. Okay. If that master key is stored on the cloud, then it defeats the purpose, right? So the master key is stored with us. Okay. Outside of cloud, and our data is encrypted. That's one way that I would recommend to secure your data in cloud. Anything you put on cloud, I personally say that it should be encrypted. There is no reason that it should not be encrypted. Okay, so how do we? Okay, so being a core software developer, is it necessary to know everything about cloud for development going forward in future? If not, what a developer needs to know about cloud? I think I think cloud in one of the roles that it is playing is it is giving developers a lot of reusable component. I'll give you a very classic example of uh, login. Any application that you would have worked on, it would always need a login module, right? User authentication module. Somebody will log in, you have to go and verify if this is a right user, and then based on that, you have to give access, right? Every single application needs this functionality. Now, what cloud is doing, or cloud vendors, they are simply creating a reusable module like this, and we can consume them as a service. Okay. Okay, so it is making job of developer easier. So to answer that question, what I would recommend, now everybody needs to know a little bit about cloud, right? And for a developer, they need to know what such reusable components are available. Because it will reduce the time, and being a lead developer, that would not a person would need. Hey, how can I reduce time to market? You are a product manager. That's one of the first thing that you would want, right? So I want this ASAP. So so how do you want that ASAP? Is finding out what are the reusable components. Cloud native development is a bit different from development for the servers, right? That obviously is a topic for some other time in terms of microservices versus monoliths, right? But all the applications that run on-prem in terms of performance and cost would not necessarily run in same way on cloud, because that is how cloud is made. I did tell you that cloud is made in a decoupled architecture. Everything can run independent of each other. And they expect that applications deployed on cloud should be of similar nature. Right. Okay. But yeah, those are the two takeaways that I'll share. Okay. Okay. So, I think we are pretty much very close to the end of this webinar. Just a few more questions that we will take up, and then I'll delight you with um, the information about the product management application that we have developed. And definitely, there's a gift for you guys to enjoy after this webinar. And you are giving them a gift? Yes. You will also get a gift. I'll also get a gift. Yes. Okay, so do CM tools are compliant to GDPR, SOC, ISO, etc.? So this is one question. Yeah, so there are some tools, based on Gartner's report that do comply with GDPR. SOC and ISO, as of now, I do not know. Okay. So that's a very good question. I have to go back and then do a research of my own as well. GDPR, I know for sure that they do. Okay, okay, great. So they have given us some. Yes, they have given me a homework. Okay. So let's talk about the product management application, the product that we have been working on from last year, I think, and it's actually my work in this organization. So I will be, bragging a lot about it. So the cloud management platform we have developed, which is named Powered, you can check it out on our website, loves.cloud. And this application is actually the place where you can start your cloud management journey. You can just plug in your account. Right now, we are supporting AWS, and gradually, I think in the coming months, we are also going to support Azure and GCP. You can plug in your cloud account, and within a few hours, you will start getting all the data information about your metrics and how your workloads and whatever is there on the cloud will just come into one single dashboard. And this application is going to be very helpful. The reason is because
it is going to be utilized within each and every part of the organization or the role within your team, because it is going to be used by project manager, a product manager, developers, CTOs, and the cloud architects also, and it will provide each and every sort of information. So when we started this product, I think the biggest problem that we saw in the people who are currently using cloud is that they are very much stressed with the complex billing which they are getting from the cloud. So this application will actually help you to decipher that complex billing, and it will actually explain you where you are spending, where are your potential savings, and where you can take small and tiny bit steps which will actually save you $1,000 in the month. So which is actually we have a lot of clients which are currently using, and this is a proven fact that our application is definitely helping a lot of people to save $1,000. So you can definitely come on this application. You can after this webinar, we will be sending you a custom coupon for you guys to use this application, and it will give you a 2 months time period to use this application, and will not need any sort of credit card information to use this application. You can use it for 2 months for free at all.
There is one more question.
Yes, we have another question. So, is your product HIPAA compliant?
Yes, we are HIPAA compliant actually. We can, and then obviously connect with Yogita for all your product queries.
Yes.
The I think cloud management. The goal is we don't need to know, or we don't need to be like cloud certified in order to in order to manage cloud. And cloud management is not something that should be a burden for a DevOps folk or a cloud architect, right? It should be a utility, a tool that can be used by a product manager or a project manager, right? Or maybe a PMO.
Right.
Yeah, a PMO should be using a cloud management tool to manage that. Hey, how are things going on, right? Or even a CIS. And I think that is what we are striving to do, right? So let and cloud obviously gives you a lot of intelligent information. There are best practices available in the market. So we took all of this, created our own algorithm, and then gave it to you in form of a simple dashboard. Yeah, you can drill on it, you can look at it, and then of course you can benefit from it.
Right. So when we talk about this product, we are already having around, I think, 300 plus checks which we have integrated, which will help you improve the quality, the cloud health that you are having right now from the day one. Right?
Yeah.
I'm literally saying it from the day one. And the people who are asking about the certification which is related to security of the cloud, this is the place where you should definitely start, because we already have a lot of checks which are implemented for cloud security. Particularly, there's one single screen that explains you A to Z about the cloud security, and we have a lot of standards implemented, the checkpoints implemented, which you don't even need to come on this platform each day. Trust me, guys, you will be getting notifications and everything, and you can manage it with the time that you have, and you don't have to bill a lot in the month end. So everything will contribute step by step. It will help you grow. It will help your cloud management journey as you gradually move with us, and in fact grow with us with this application. It's actually totally ludicrous to join.
You can see how passionate she is, right? When the way she talks about product, and I think that's what I love about product managers. They're absolutely in love with that product. But having said that, cloud management is the new normal. Just like cloud is a new normal for all the applications and data, I believe cloud management is the new normal. Like very soon, with the way cloud is kind of exploding, there will be an acute shortage of cloud management. Yes. In terms of processes, in terms of tools, in terms of people. And I think it's a high time we start looking at it. Yeah.
Right. So that is when we especially when we started about this product, the research that I have done for this product, I talked a lot of people who are currently using cloud, and in fact I did a lot of research over Google how their experiences have been with cloud. So cloud management, I think it's nothing new for people, but I think the adoption is still difficult, which we have really tried to really focus on. It's like a key concern with this application that we have developed, and that is why we are trying to promote cloud management simplified. Yes. Because we are trying to break it down for you guys so that you can concentrate more on the business, more on the work that you are actually designated to do. You don't have to think about cloud all day. You don't have to think about what you are going to build to your company. You just have to think about what you are contributing in your business or your product. You just don't have to worry about the cloud. You don't have to worry about the cloud management, cloud cost, security. The application will take care of itself. So that is why we have started this initiative of cloud management simplified, and we are promoting it with cloud
hashtag cloud simplified. If you can find it on LinkedIn and on Twitter, you can see that we promote. That cloud shouldn't be complicated. If we are not cloud guys, doesn't mean that we cannot manage cloud, right? So that is the mission, that we are working towards. Cloud for everybody, making things simplified, and then putting everything on the table. Right. Yeah, that is how it is. We can work on that. Right. Okay.
Thank you so much, guys, for being in a conversation with us. I think we have another question. Okay, so I think this is the last question that we are taking up. What is the process of creating a cloud account?
So all the major cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, DigitalOcean, you can visit their website. Most of the time, they would ask for a credit card or a debit card, just in case you are, spending some money outside of the free tier. But you go there, put in your information, and then you create a cloud account.
Right. Thank you guys for getting on this conversation with us, and thank you so much, Albert, for taking out a 1 hour long time and speaking so much about cloud management. I believe we had a lot of learnings, especially me. I had a lot of learning sitting by his side, getting all the questions answered, and so. We are also conducting a meetup which is offline in Noida. So for the people who are here at Noida, you can join us there on 22nd of Feb, and we are going to make it live soon on our meetup group. You can join Love's Cloud meetup group on the meetup, and you can RSVP there, because we are going to have fixed number of seats there, so we are not going to entertain more than that. So this is the opportunity that you should definitely take and meet us in person there. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much. Sincerely appreciate all of you joining. Have a very cloudy Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right.
See you soon. Bye bye.